So the Commissioner, your question to you will be, could you tell us a bit about your program for infrastructure development in Africa that has been launched? What is it, and where do you stand on the program right now? Thank you.
First of all, good morning. It's really my pleasure to be with you today to highlight about PIDA, the Program for Infrastructure Development in Africa. And beside the question addressed to me, I'll also comment on 2 points from the distinguished panelists on project preparation and also on demand first for infrastructure. Let me start by what is PIDA. As you know, the problem we faced in Africa during the last decades or 4 decades, we have before what we know about, NIPAD. I think we all know about NIPAD, and they have their optimistic program or projects for infrastructure. And there are also the regional economic communities with their programs for infrastructure. We have our partners as the World Bank, the UN, ECA, and the African Development Bank. All these stakeholders are concerned with infrastructure development in Africa, but unfortunately, there were no one master plan, one strategy for these projects in the continent. That's what we did within this program. We worked together, all these stakeholders led by African Union, Commission, and the African Development Bank and NIPAD, and we, with the support or the participation also with our regional economic communities and in specialized institutions, all stakeholders concerned by infrastructure, to develop one master plan for infrastructure development in Africa up to 2040, including 4 sectors: energy, transport, ICT, and transboundary water. This program is divided or has 3 phases. The first one from 2012, let us start from today, up to 2020, where we have what we call a priority action plan. The second phase is from 2020 to 2030, and the last one is from 2030 up to 2040. Where we are now, the program is ready, and it has been adopted by the African Union Summit last January in Addis Ababa. And our presidents and they have their summit declaration on this program, which shows how our leaders are committed and recognizing the importance of infrastructure for our continent. And what we mean by this, or we are concerned with regional and continental infrastructure, because we all know that there is also the national infrastructure projects. So what we are talking about is regional and continental. If I go through or focus on this priority action plan up to 2020, it has 51 projects, 15 in the energy sector, 24 in the transport, 9 in transboundary water, and 3 in ICT area. How much this priority action plan will cost? It's about $68 billion for the whole period. If we make it annually, it's about 7.5 billion for this. So, is it possible to do it as African ourselves, I think we can do. Because this amount is about 1% of Africa GDP. And I think we can do it if we want to do. So I want to go back now to this point of project preparation. So now after we had the program and it is in place now, what we are doing, what we want to do to have this program implemented. We are concentrating or focusing on two points now. First, to establish or to, let me say, to strengthen, because we have already NEPAD project preparation facility, which takes care of these projects to be ready for implementation. So we want to put some funds in this facility, which is really in place. And our intention is to go to our leaders who really supporting the infrastructure development. And you may know or heard about our presidential initiative for supporting and championing infrastructure projects, which was announced by our leaders in Uganda summit last year. So the interest or our concentration is to put money on this facility. The second dimension is to build the capacity of our institutions, because who will implement, who will lead this implementation process? It is NEPAD and regional economic communities, because they are the coordinator for our member states to implement their projects. How the private sector can participate? I think our private sector, even if it is the African or international, they are all welcome, and I think they have their important role to play in developing infrastructure in Africa. And before moving from this, let me go the demand first. I think the demand is there, because if we are looking for intra-trade, for example, if we are looking for this integration, how we can get it without infrastructure? So I think the demand is there, but demand for whom? Those who are interested in trade in Africa, so they will not get it without infrastructure. So this is, I think, will give the real proof that, or the real interest for those who want to support or to develop Africa infrastructure. As we heard from Her Excellency, the Minister, unfortunately she left, there are good examples in Africa which show how we are developing our environment, which attract the private sector participation. And it is not only Cape Verde. I think there are so many successful stories in the continent, even if in the power sector or transport sector, where the private sector can work and have good projects in the continent. And as African Union, I can just give one example in this area of encouraging the private sector in the power sector. We created a facility within the African Union Commission for supporting the geothermal projects in East Africa region, where we can give some financial support to the developers, especially in the first phase of drilling process. As we know, it's a very risky stage. So this facility is now in place. It has, for now, 50 million euro. And it's now, the other partners are supporting, and they are interested to participate, beside Germany and the European Union, who started already with us. And this is what I want to say, and thank you.
Doing business in Africa. You can't afford to be without Africa Investor.